Thank you very much. His Grace Surdas Prabhu and Her Grace Varaha Mataji now.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, but just before you start, combined time of 10 minutes.
Combined 10 minutes. And is it fair?
Yeah.
You please tell me. Because audience is the right support of a speaker.
You put a gun on their what will they do? You are the Surdas Prabhu.
We'll try our best to culminate it within a short time, but we have to express ourselves in the August gathering of the men and women, that the women has not been given chance. So that's why I had to force.
She would have been the next, but you called her before me.
Yes, because we have to see that we have parallel lines going on steadily.
Yeah.
So just to inform you that she is my wife and I am her husband, but we are in Krishna consciousness. That means we are almost about since 25 years Vanaprasthis, right? Is it 25 years? So we got married in 90 and 25 years of Vanaprasthi life. So we are friends and we are in the service of our Guru Maharaj. Coming back, we'll start, and I hope you will like our little anecdotes, which are completely engulfed with love and devotion of our spiritual master. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunitam Yenai Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So my dear brothers and sisters, I came to Krishna consciousness 1978, and my wife came to Krishna consciousness way back in 1972, correct? When she came in touch with Srila Prabhupada in Mombasa. And she has many letters of Srila Prabhupada, but her parents didn't allow her to take the initiation from Prabhupada. At the time, she was very young, and she had to study and prove to the parents that she's attached to the parents, and she's an Agyakari daughter of the parents. So coming back to my scene, 1978, I came to Hare Krishna land, where I came to seek the shelter of Bollywood. And I was very fortunate that I came to office of Srila Prabhupada. And while I was in Prabhupada's office, while I was pursuing my Bollywood career, I happened to serve the Vaishnavas in the Govinda restaurant with my hard-earned money at the time. So with hard-earned money, I would spend on sannyasis like Giriraj Swami, Sridhar Swami, and many senior Prabhupada disciples in Hare Krishna land. In due course of a time, I happened to meet His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who was a grihastha at the time. He had a wife and he had a son too. Some of you may not know that he has also a son. So while I intended to serve the Vaishnavas, I happened to meet Gopal Krishna Maharaj in a white robe at the time. But he would accept the invitation on behalf of the sannyasis, where I used to spend my hard-earned money for treating them in the Govindas. And they used to all gather. Whenever I used to sign a contract, I used to go, I have signed another contract, and they will always enjoy the hospitality of mine in the restaurant. So we'll all sit down there. So in due course of a time, Maharaj became the initiating guru in 82. And while I was associating with other Swamis, I came across a Swami at the time, whose name was Kirtananda Swami, who was very famous at the time in Hare Krishna land, Zonal Acharya, you have heard about it. And everybody would force me upon taking an initiation from him. Somehow or other I was very reluctant to take initiation from him, because his all disciples would come and take me. So one day I said, let me test. So all these disciples came to my professional area and he said that Kirtanand Swami is giving lecture in KC College auditorium. Would you like to come and hear it? I said that yes, I will come. I came, the lecture was over, so then he was distributing the cookies to everybody, and I came on the stage, and the surchargement of my devotion was such that when I reached the stage, and I kissed the feet of Kirtananda Swami. Usually if you meet a sannyasi of Indian sannyasi, they will say, aise mat karo, mere charanon ko mat chule. What to speak of kissing a sannyasi with his lips? And he was like a rock steady. And when I came out, I started weeping. I said, what the hell I do? I am from Kashmir. I'm born in Kashmir. What did I do? And then everybody started, what happened to you? What happened? I told them, see this fellow? He's calling himself a guru, and I kissed his feet. He didn't even shirk. He's not going to be my spiritual master in my life. Never. Cut to 82, Guru Maharaj is becoming initiating Guru. Garai Swami and other people are telling me, now is the time for you to take initiation. But I was in my profession, still at the time I had a long hair. I used to go out, and Maharaj made me to run to barber 3 times. He said, you cut this hair first. Ek bar, do bar, teen bar. So then Sridhar Swami and Giriraj Swami said, he is in still profession, why you are making him to? Anyway, he was satisfied, and I took the initiation. I was the second batch in initiation after Ahmedabad. First was Sandipani Upani. So the day he gave me initiation, he said that, when are you coming to the temple for doing seva? I said, Maharaj, I have 4 or 5 assignments in my hand. They are very, very important assignments. He said, you finish them fast, but you go daytimes, in the evening you come and manage the restaurant. So following Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittita Karina Akya, from a young age we have heard that if you accept a spiritual master, you don't defy his orders at any given time. Otherwise this understanding of taking initiation is sparse and futile. So I started coming, and at the time that restaurant was in debts for almost about 7 lakhs rupees. So that assignment came first to me, to eradicate the debts of the restaurant, which was closed for almost about 2.5 years. Then we, the devotees, went inside and started cleaning. That was the first assignment given to my Guru Maharaj, to lessen your ego, to wash the pots. Nowadays, if you tell the young people to wash the pot, अरे इसलिए मैं क्या आया, हरे कृष्ण मंदिर में आया हूँ क्या मैं? मेरे से नहीं हो सकता है. I am on the computer, I should be on the computer. You watch the temple? No, nothing. Cut to after some time, somebody robbed the money in the restaurant in 86, and everybody became against. You are not a perfect manager, you leave this place. Sridhar Maharaj came, you just now give the keys right now. I said, Maharaj, you take. But there were almost about 15 brahmacharis with me. He said, Surdas Prabhu, don't give the key. We have worked hard, this. I said, Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chitir, my senior brothers have told me to give the key. I just handed over to him. And rest, all the brahmacharis left to America. All of them went to America. Cut to, I was sent to Bayandar. Bayandar place is a faraway place where the Mira Road is. I was managing that place. Somebody told Maharaj, what are you doing, Maharaj? You send him over there. Nobody knows him there. He again called me. And then I was staying at sweet stall selling samosas. Then whoever he saw me selling samosas, everybody senior devotees told, oh, why are you sending, telling him to go? You should give it some other big assignments. So 86, somebody robbed Bhakti Kailash Kshetra. The Maharaj said, now you take care of the Bhakti Kailash Kshetra. So in 86, I took responsibility of Bhakti Kailash Kshetra. Guru Mukha Padma Vakyachit. Again, there was no bank balance in the accounts there. And it's a history. I kept on helping all the temples all over the world. In the morning, Umapati was here from Nairobi. I was the first person to go to that Nairobi. There's nobody there. I did a fundraising program for that yatra, where I preached in Nairobi, Mombasa, and so many places. And we did a huge fundraising program for that yatra. I went door to door to beg and cultivate people. And after that, we raised some funds. After that, the funds came. Umapati went there and he made a temple. He was talking about the yatra. So like that, Bhaktivedanta manner, he always directed me to assist my God brothers. He loved his God brothers. Till today, he loves his God brothers. He can sacrifice many disciples for his God brothers. Not even if they will be doing joking or this or that. Once upon a time, our jolly Swami, Sridhar Swami Maharaj, we were celebrating, from 82 we celebrated a Vyas Puja in a very big manner. I used to do things larger than life. I still believe in that. And at the time also I used to do that. Maharaj said, you can't do this. You can't do this. They will all tell me, what are you doing? And I think all of people will endorse Mahamantra, Rajendra Nandan, all these people are devotees there. I always remain humble because I saw the Western devotees even fighting with each other. We had Ruchi Sevana, Prabhu. He was a tall 7-footer. He bashed Bada Haridas. And his blood started coming down. I said, ye bhi hota hai kya yahan par? And they closed me in the door. Don't go out, you are not supposed to go out. So again there Maharaj was pacifying me all the time. He was always suppressing me. My emotions, my devotion, all the time. Then in 86, I kept on serving him. I was a young man. Bollywood people used to still come. And this is for brahmacharis. When you are in complete Krishna consciousness, when you are beautiful, there is possibility, then so many allurements will come to your life. There will be so many proposals coming from congregational devotees. ये ब्रह्मचारी बहुत अच्छा है, तुम शादी करना चाहोगे क्या? हाँ? So be careful about that. And so many proposals started coming to me because I was from Kashmir. अभी तक तो काला हो गया हूँ. उस वक्त बड़ा अच्छा गोरा था मैं. हाँ? So proposals came, this is for you, this is for you. Then one fine morning I told Maharaj, I said, Maharaj, I think it is better for me to get married. My mother was also serving me. She was after my Guru Maharaj. You take him, but you get him married. So I told Maharaj, okay, you find some girl. And then Maharaj found the girl. She's on my left side. And she was serving in Vrindavan in Gurukul for 9 years under austerities, and her father used to give only 3. And I would like to request my wife to speak in between so that it becomes more sweeter. Otherwise I will come more and more harder. Okay? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. My journey into ISKCON started when Srila Prabhupada first visited in 1971. He was very sick and he was in England. And one of our MLAs of Mombasa, Kenya, was also in the same hospital. So he invited Srila Prabhupada to come and stay in Mombasa because Prabhupada was having a lot of chest congestion. So he said the weather is very nice, it's coastal, it's hot, and I have a very beautiful bungalow because he was an MLA and with beautiful gardens and everything. So Prabhupada was wondering, and then Brahmananda Swami said, yes, Prabhupada, we should go there. Even I've heard Mombasa is very nice. So then Prabhupada said, okay, book our tickets and let's go. So then this Mr. Pandya called up his son, Mr. Naveen, and told him that the Swamijis are coming from India. Please take care of them. And don't, because they're Gujaratis, so they were eating onion and garlic. So he said, don't bring any onion, garlic in the house when Swamiji is there. And my father was the temple, we had a Hindu Union temple there, so he was the president there. And that was the only temple we had at that time. So he knew his son might not be able to take care of the Swamiji. So he called up my father and said that the Swamiji is coming, so can you help Naveen in taking care of him? So my father went, he was going to pick up Prabhupada, so when I found out that he's going to pick up some Swamiji, I said, who are they? He says, some foreigner Swamiji. So I said, okay, I want to also come. I was like 13-year-old. I said, I want to see what is the foreigner Swami, because we had the Swaminarayan Gurus coming, we had Kathakars coming from Gujarat. So then I also accompanied him, and when Prabhupada was coming from the plane, there was Brahmananda Swami and other Swamis, very tall. I estimated, I was thinking that it'd be a foreigner guru. So I undermined, I didn't even notice Prabhupada ji. It's only when everybody came down and they started offering obeisances to Prabhupada ji, because they were offering obeisances to the Bhumi. Then I realized, and then I also went and touched his feet. We took him to this Mr. Pandya's house, and that's how I came into Krishna consciousness. I liked to chant and dance in Kirtan, because we didn't have a temple at that time, so all the programs were held at his house. But Prabhupada stayed only for a week, because he found, because Mombasa is a very small town and very docile, so when he got better, he wanted to preach. So they decided, okay, let's go to Nairobi. And in Nairobi, we had a small center with just 2 or 3 devotees. So they decided to go to Nairobi. And that was the only time I saw Prabhupada ji. And one more time I met him was again in Nairobi when he came for the second time. And then after a few years, I had to go off to England to study. And when I was there, I came to know that there's one Indian guru who's becoming a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, because my parents were not so much into me taking initiation from any Westerner. They said, no, you have to take initiation, you take from an Indian only. I said, but in ISKCON, because we had a small center in Mombasa where most of the devotees were coming from England and they were all foreigners. And my father used to come with me to the temple, drop me off for Aarti, and then he would leave me and he would go off for his social engagements and come and pick me up at 8:30. But he would not come into the temple. He would just leave me down and go away. So during that time, I was helping them in cooking, and because I knew how to cook at that age. And Divangananda Prabhu, and there were many other devotees, but mostly brahmacharis at that time. And then we used to make incense. I used to help them in making incense. They would bring everything from Los Angeles, matchless gift. They would send all the ingredients, and then on the roof we would mix and make agarbattis, and then go door to door, sell them. So then in after Srila Prabhupada passed away, I was missing India a lot. So at that time I told my father that I would like to visit Mayapur. And at that time, we had one devotee from LA, Gunvanti Mataji. She was there with Srila Prabhupada's disciple. And she was going to Mayapur, and she said, why don't you come with me? So my father said, okay, you can go with her. So I went to Mayapur, and in 1982, I was in Mayapur. And then I was thinking, this is a good time for me to take initiation, because my parents are not here. So then I said, whom should I take initiation? And there were very few gurus at that time. So then somebody recommended, take from Kirtananda Maharaj, because he'll be visiting Kenya. He's become in charge of zone of Kenya. So I said, okay. So when I went to meet Kirtananda Maharaj, because he was senior devotee, I talked to him, but somehow I was not, like when you have a connection with your guru, it's like a soul-to-soul connection. So I didn't feel that connection. But still, since everybody was telling me, and I was still young, so I said, okay, I will take initiation from Kirtananda Maharaj. So when I went for the ceremony they were having, the sannyasis, I didn't even know what ceremony it was, but I went along with the other devotees, and I saw that Gopal Krishna Maharaj was there, and he was taking his sannyas diksha from Kirtananda Maharaj. So when I saw him, I said, no, he's Indian. I think I'll take initiation from him. So after a while, after the whole initiation thing or whatever, the fire sacrifice they were having, it was done, then this Mataji, Padyavali Mataji says, I will take you to him because he's going to take care of Canada, our zone in Canada, because he speaks French. So then she took me up to the room of Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and I met Maharaj. And I felt very comfortable with him. He made me sit down, and he asked me where I was from and everything. And then I told him that I want to take initiation, but my parents are very strict, and that's why I have not told them that I'm taking initiation. So he says, no, you should always take permission from your father and mother. You should not come like this and take initiation and go back and tell them that you're initiated. So then I said, what should I do? He says, anyway, I'm going to become the zonal guru for Mombasa, Kenya. So I'll be visiting in 3 months. So you should come and see me at that time, and I will talk to your parents. So I went back and I told my parents also that I met this Maharaj, and he's very nice. And then even Gunvanti Mataji, who had come with me, expressed that yes, he's very gentle and he'll take care of your daughter very nicely. So then Maharaj came after 2 months, and then my parents met, and they had a long discussion also. And then Maharaj decided that, because he saw that close bondness my parents had with me, so he suggested to my father that why don't you send her to Canada, because I'm going to Canada and I will make sure that she's taken care very nicely. We have very nice senior devotee ladies there, and she'll be very comfortable also, because he saw my house and my parents had invited him for prasadam. So he knew that my parents were like well off, so he knew that they'll be very unhappy if they see me sleeping on the floor or something. So then Maharaj said, okay. Then he asked me to come to Canada. He asked me to come to Montreal in the month of December. And I went there. It was very cold for me. And I had a lot of difficulty because the Bhagavatam class there was spoken in French. So then I told Maharaj that, Maharaj, it's very difficult for me, even if I go out on book distribution, they think I'm a Pakistani. Twice I got slapped also, you Paki, go away from here, this, that. So Maharaj said, okay, you go to Toronto. So then I went to Toronto, and I served there for 8 years. It was very nice. I got lots of Maharaj's blessings. And then I told Maharaj that my very dear friend was with me. Madhurya Leela, her husband, passed away. So he was proper disciple, Nakadi Das, and Maharaj says, okay, you can take his ashes to Vrindavan. Both of you can go. So we went to Vrindavan, and then from there we told Maharaj that we don't want to come back to Toronto.
Okay. We will, she will stop here. Sometimes we wonder how Maharaj is knowing so many languages. Okay, so Maharaj learned Russian in 3 months in Bombay, and that also in our Giridhari Kutir. There was a lady coming to teach. She was the best Russian teacher. And Maharaj said that if the lady enters in my ashram, they will see that what's happening. Who is this lady coming to Maharaj's ashram? So it is better for me to go to your home, Giridhari Kutir, and he learned within 3 months he learned complete Russian, making Vara to sit next to the teacher all the time. That was what time to what time?
It was in the afternoon from, no, not afternoon, 11 to 3, I think almost.
So 11 to 3 or some odd time, Maharaj learned within 3 months Russian. And just to tell you, sometimes we are wondering what is the strength of Maharaj. Actually, Maharaj is by spirit a Kshatriya, correct? And he is the son of a wonderful, robust Navy officer. And the spiritual strength came to him from Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada always used to love Punjabis. You will be wonderful. You know, he loved P.L. Sethi ji. You know, in Juhu you have heard the wonderful struggle of, Juhu, Hare Krishna land. P.L. Sethi was also a Punjabi. He loved, and he used to only like, his wife's cooking and another person's cooking. So like that, Maharaj is a very tough gentleman. Very, very tough. And he knows how to get things done from everybody in a daksha manner. He never was happy with me, let me tell you frankly. Whatever way I tried to please him, he will always blast me. I only saw one smile on his face when he came to Kharghar and he saw Prabhupada's quarters there. And when he saw for the first time, he was in tears over there when he saw, Surdas, what did you do here? I said, Maharaj, this is nothing. We want to do something more, but keep on blessing. That was one time, it was tears in his eyes when we opened Prabhupada quarters. And second time, there was a joy on his face when we made him to tell that our guest house is ready. Now you have to inaugurate. And he came, we put everything properly there, and it's still there. So he said that, Surdas, you are spending so much of money in this project. I said, Maharaj, we have to do something there because 48 years I was in Juhu seeing the ideal vision of Srila Prabhupada. But if we want to take people furthermore for 50 years or 100 years, we have to make Kharghar project one of the best in the whole world. And he was very happy. He said, okay, how much money you want? And where is Abhay Gaur Prabhu and wonderful people? Whenever we have any problems in finance, he will tell Abhay, Abhay, give Surdas this money. Where is Abhay Gaur Prabhu? And for finance problems. And but mercies of Maharaj is unlimited. There are so many wonderful people there to serve us. And let me tell you frankly, nor Meera Road, nor Juhu, nor Girgaon Chowpatty ever came to help me, except that Juhu gives me sometimes loan, and against that loan they take 4 checks or 5 checks well in advance. So my dear friends, we have accomplished by the mercy of Guru Maharaj a wonderful project. As I said in the Vrindavan, those who are free, I will request our temple president of Radha Parthasarthi temple, Mohan Rupa Prabhu, if you have gotten a more contingent of devotees who have no job, please send them to Kharghar. We give them excellent job. So with this note, now last but not the least, she will culminate it here. And there are many things to say that, but अब अपना गला जो है ना आधा घंटे के बाद गर्म हो जाता है. यहाँ पर 10 मिनट दे रहा तो क्या करेगा हम?
10 मिनट पिछले 10-15 मिनट से चल रहा है.
Rishi Maharaj is real Rishi, like when I meet him, he's so, humble personified like Gopal Krishna Maharaj, so I can't say anything to him. So in order to keep balance of my old age, I have to depend on the young people like him. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Just one last incident when Guru Maharaj fell in Mayapur and in Juhu also, every time he was falling in the bathroom. So I told Dasavatar Prabhu and Damodar Prabhuji that why don't you be with him inside the bathroom or wherever he's going. He says, Maharaj doesn't allow us, he asks us to wait outside. So then I wrote a letter to Maharaj that please, you have to allow your disciples to take care of you, because every time you are falling, you're hurting yourself, and the body goes into trauma after too many falls, then the body starts reacting. So please, I beg you, allow your disciples to help you and assist you. So I had sent that letter to Madhva Mangala because I didn't want to send it directly to him and he reads and, something happens to him. But then Madhva Mangala told me that, when she read that letter to Guru Maharaj, he was weeping. So then when this incident happened at, where did he fall? Dehradun, yes.
Dehradun, yes.
And Dasavatara Prabhu called me up and he told me that this has happened to Maharaj this morning. I said, where were you? Why weren't you there inside? He says, no, Maharaj told me I'm just going to go into the bathroom and when I come to the toilet, and then when it's time, I'll call you and you come in. But he didn't call. He tried to get up himself, and he didn't want to take so many services from his disciples. It seemed like that. So I really blasted Prabhuji, Dasavatara Prabhu, and I'm very sorry. I said, why did you do that? You should have not listened to him. You should have been inside, standing there to help him to come. When it's difficult for him to get off the toilet seat because he doesn't have that much strength left. But he said, Mataji, I could not do anything. So this is the
So the
reason.
success of our project is, let me tell you frankly, very clearly. One fine morning I go to Maharaj in his room. I sorted first, the place is Maharaj's place there. After that we prepared Prabhupadaji's place. And he was very pleased. And one fine morning he just gave me one 500 note. Okay? So I don't want to tell you where it came for and what it came for. He said that you keep it always with you and there will be no dearth of money. And my dear brothers and sisters, I have no problem. I don't know where. I have got a conviction that Krishna is always sending us the money there.
That note is there on his altar, framed up. And
So
he's worshipping every day.
have complete faith in the teachings and preachings and instructions of your spiritual master. Even if you fumble, you go back to him and ask the pardon. He will forgive. Remain connected with Prabhupada. That is the only thing we can make our life glorious. Otherwise, there is no other thing in the material world by which you will make your life glorious in this lifetime. I pray to you all. I don't have any qualification. I'm the most wretched fool ever existing in the history of Maharaj's line of disciplic succession. But I have a full faith in what he taught me, how he engaged me, and that engagement of devotional service is the absolute sum and substance of spiritual life. Hare Krishna.